In this video, we're going to be learning about the coordinate plane and graphing ordered pairs. So here we have a coordinate plane. We have the x-axis, which is the horizontal axis, and we have the y-axis, which is the vertical axis. The point right in the center is called the origin, 0, 0. The coordinate plane is split up into 4 quadrants, quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. In each of the quadrants, there is a different sign for the x and the y values, and so in quadrant 1 both the x and the y values are positive. In quadrant 2 the x is negative and the y is positive. In quadrant 3 the x and the y both are negative, and in quadrant 4 the x is positive and the y is going to be negative. And if we do have a point on the x-axis, it's called the x-intercept, and that point is going to be x, 0. So the y value is going to be 0 in the x-intercept. And then with the y-intercept, it's the points on the y-axis. And so here the point's going to be 0, wherever it falls on the y-axis. And so here your x is going to be 0 for your y-intercept. So example 1, let's plot the given points on the graph. We have point A, which is 4, 6. So first thing I need to do is identify which quadrant it's going to be in. Since both of the x and the y values are positive, it's going to be in quadrant 1. So then the process to plot the point is I'm going to go to my x-axis and I'm going to go to the right 4, and then I am going to go up 6, and then that is where my point A is going to be 4, 6. And then with point B, I'm going to need to figure out which quadrant it's going to be in. It's -4, -6. Since both of my x and y values are negative, it's going to be in quadrant 3. And so here I'm going to go to my x-axis and I'm going to go to the left -4, and then I got to go down -6. And then that's where my point B is going to end up falling, is going to be -4, -6. Example 2, we have 2 points A and B. So for point A, it's 4, -6. I need to identify which quadrant it's going to be in. Since my x is positive and my y is negative, it's going to be in quadrant 4. And so I'm going to go to the right 4 on my x-axis, and then I'm going to go down 6, and that's going to be where my point A is going to be. 4, -6 will be right there. And then for my point B, since my x is negative and my y is positive, it's going to be in quadrant 2. And so I'm going to go to the left 4 on my x-axis, and then I'm going to go up 6 on my y, and that's where my point B is going to be plotted, -4, 6. So in example 3, how we're going to identify what the coordinates are if they're already plotted. So let's look at point A. So same thing, I want to figure out which quadrant it's in. It's going to be in quadrant 1, which means both my x and my y values are going to be positive. And so then I'm going to count on my x-axis. I went to the right 3, and then I went up 4. So my point's going to be 3, 4. And then in my point B, it actually lies on my x-axis, which means it's actually an x-intercept. And so all I'm going to do here is I'm going to count how many to the left it went. And so it's went to the left -7. So my point B is going to end up being -7, 0. So example 4, last example, let's see what the coordinates are going to be for points A and B. So I'm going to look at point A first. It actually lies on the y-axis, which means it's a y-intercept. And so to get that point, to identify it, I am just going to count how many I went down. And so since I went down -2, my point's going to be 0, -2. For my point A. And then for point B, it is in quadrant 2, which means that my x is negative and my y is going to be positive. And so I'm counting how many I went left on my x-axis, which is -5, and then I went up 5. So my point is going to be -5, 5 for point B.